Casey Bishop, and I live in Fort Myers slash Estero, Florida. Um, I I make music. I'm just starting to make music. Um, yeah, I've been singing since I was really little, like super little, and then started writing music when I was in middle school. And well, like I started and then I stopped. So I did not practice it. I didn't nurture it like I should have then, but now I am. And now I'm writing my own music and doing a lot of co-writes. And now I'm coming out with an EP.
So I'm curious, um, in between your little small breaks from not writing and writing, what were you doing?
um, it was okay. So I started in eighth grade when I listened to Dreams for the first time by Fleetwood Mac, and then I became obsessed with Fleetwood Mac, and that was like the first time I had ever like I've always loved to sing, but that was the first time I had ever felt inspired to like write and make my own music. So that was like a really big deal to me. And then I started and I kept practicing, and then I just kind of fell off from it. I'd say like my freshman year in high school. And I was just in school. I was going to school. I would write a little bit, but I was just going to school, and then I auditioned for American Idol, and then that's when like everything started again.
I want to pop back onto the Fleetwood part. What song was like that moment for you where you're like, yeah, I think I want to like actually continue writing?
Oh my gosh. I was really obsessed with Sarah. I don't know. I was really obsessed with that one. And Angel, I think it was. I don't know. I think it was Angel. I was super like I was writing kind of like poetically. It was kind of like I was writing poetry, and then I would come up with a melody, and like the melody was not good. But like the words read well. But yeah, I would say those two songs I was really obsessed with. It was
However, you now eventually turn that poetry into actual lyrics and have a brand new album coming out soon. And
yes.
now, holy crap, this is your self-titled album. I'm always curious in terms of when people release a self-title. Why did you choose to title it your name?
Um I'm gonna be honest, nothing was really like jumping out to me as like a name, and I didn't want to like have to search for a name, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like nothing was really like, oh, that's it. Like that should be the name of the EP, you know?
They stand out on their own. Oh my gosh. There's one of
Thank
them in particular that I like absolutely love, and I cannot wait to put this on my
thank
playlist.
you. Thank you. I'm so Oh yeah.
I love the song Kerosene. That was like the one that like stood out to me the most.
That was my first writing session I had ever done. And
Really?
I that is like, oh my God, I love that song. I love that
It's
song.
such a great song. Like the whole album makes me feel like like if Avril Lavigne went into a different route. Like
Oh,
it has that like Avril effect, like first album wise of Avril Lavigne, and if she just kept going deeper into the cut of her like
thank
woods kind of like feel. That's how I felt about it. I was like,
you. Thank you. I love Avril.
no, so a lot of these songs were a couple of these songs were actually co-written by Willow Smith. I want to know how that happened.
Well, she had reached out to me, which I like. I have been a Willow fan. She actually inspired me to write when I was in eighth grade. Um, I wrote a little song called 1970 after I heard Time Machine. Um, but yeah, I was a big fan. I mean, I'm still a big fan of Willow, but she reached out to me to jam and do a session, and I was like, yeah. And yeah, we met up, and we we wrote some songs.
So I'm curious in terms of like, how was that jam session? Like your first time meeting her, like was it in person or just over Zoom?
Oh, it was in person.
Oh,
It was really, really amazing. She's like she was so nice and like so welcoming. Like made me feel so because that was my second writing session. So I was still like, I don't even know what a writing session is,
yeah.
know what to do. And yeah, it was really, really great. She's such a kind human and so inspiring. Oh my gosh. And like just talking to her, you know?
Wow. I'm so curious in terms of, because this is that was your second time having a co-writing session. Um, in that process, what did you feel that you were overstepping or understepping when working with her?
I was um I would say maybe like I don't know. I just didn't really know if like if there was a right or wrong way to do things, you know?
Yeah.
It was very but it was great. Like it was I had no bad you know, I have a lot of anxiety. So like when I first meet people and I'm like, "Oh my god, like why did I say that? Why did I do that?" with like everyone and honestly like that night like I just it was amazing. And we came back with a really great demo of a song that we did in 5 hours. It was amazing.
I definitely agree with you. I have constant anxiety all the time.
Yes, like all the time.
It's hard. It's hard to get rid of it. I don't know how. So when it came to with that in mind, um, did it feel like it like just like a flip of a switch when you worked with her? You're just like, oh, great,
Yes,
hi,
immediate.
hello.
She is insane. Like she is incredible. Like I we just sit down and she says something and that's like the name of the song and that's the chorus. And then we just go from there. She's yeah.
So with that in mind, you have two songs out with her, which is "Don't Talk" and "Bad Dreams." Out of the two, which one do you gravitate towards the most?
Don't talk.
Don't Talk, yeah,
Yes.
definitely agree with you on that one. I really enjoy "Don't Talk."
Yeah, it's a fun one. Yeah, she
So
came up. It was what happened was I don't know. We it was a it's a very sunny day, and we were writing pretty dark songs, and I feel like "Don't Talk" is definitely the brightest song in the project, and she immediately just goes "Zah, zah," and like that was it. That was it.
all the writing that you've done for this album, it was produced by Chris Greta, who's Greta. Oh my gosh,
Griadi.
Griadi. Oh my
Griadi.
gosh, I should have. I'm also dyslexic, so I'm literally looking at the word "great." To me, I see "great," graded. So it was produced by Chris Griadi. Did I do it right?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Who's worked with me like Youngblood and Poppy? How did you get a hold of him?
Um, so my manager, she she connected she connected us together just that he was my first writing session. I went over to his house and like I didn't know what anything was, what to do. I didn't know it. And then um we came out with kerosene after that first time. And then we were like, okay. I was like, okay, I freaking love this guy and I love working with him. And it's a really comfortable like I'm really comfortable with him since he was like there from the beginning. So that's always great, feeling super comfortable.
Yeah. So, it was with him being your first co-writing person and to then go through the whole procedure with you. Was there anything that you've learned from him?
Yeah, like I remember because I didn't know what my sound was. Like I was like, I want classic rock. And I want like 80s rock. I want 90s rock. And then he totally expanded my how do I how do I say this? Um, I feel more open-minded when we're working together, and that's always great. I hate feeling closed-minded and like I could only stick to one thing. And yeah, pretty much. If that makes sense, if I worded
No,
that.
no, it makes sense because he, gosh, from his repertoire, working with Youngblood and Poppy, who came from different tones, different theme styles. You can definitely see a
So
change when working with him. So I like that.
totally.
Um, Now you mentioned earlier a second ago that you want. Do you still want to do that kind of like that 70s, 80s rock?
Um, yeah. Yeah. But like with my own twist to it, like I was Chris told me he was like, "Okay, but you can't go back in time with music." And that really like stuck into my brain. I was like, "You're right." Cuz like the people in this artists in the 70s weren't like, "I want to make music that sounds like the 50s." They make music that sounds like the 70s and that's why everyone loves it because it's the 70s, you know? I don't know. So that
Love
really stuck
that.
with me. Can't go back in time with music. You can
Yeah.
like feel inspired by it and maybe, I don't know, feel really inspired by it, but like make your own thing in like a future kind of way. In
No,
like a
I love that.
yeah, I know that changed my perspective on everything.
Gosh, no, that's a great quote, honestly. But you can't look back in the future. You can't look back in the past.
Right. Pretty much, yeah.
What was like the initial thought about auditioning?
Okay. So I had I had auditioned for other shows and I was like told like now's not the time for you. And so I was like, my mom was like, "Hey, you have an American Idol audition Monday and because you're now of age to do American Idol." And I was like, "Okay, well, they're gonna tell me no, and all that TV stuff is just fake." And whatever. Or maybe I'm just not, I don't know. So then that time comes around and it's like on a Zoom. It was it, Idol Across America. That's what it's called. And I got put in my producer room and my producer who I had his name was Norm and he is my bud. Like bud. And he asked me when I was going to be singing and I was like Livewire by Motley Crue and he happened to be like, you know, rock guy, Motley Crue guy, and that was amazing. And then he told me yes, and like I, I couldn't believe it. Seriously, like my mom like fell to the ground. I got like three more yeses from other producers, and then I got sent to the judges, and then it just kept going. Like it was just so crazy. It was so nuts. Idol, so nuts.
So, I'm always curious in terms of that. Why Motley Crue? Why that song in particular?
I don't know. I love right at that time I was like obsessed with Motley Crue, especially because The Dirt, the movie had just come out. So I was like, I, and then I was like, no one's gonna be singing this song, and this is what I want to do. So I'm gonna do it, and this is somewhat kind of the music I would like to make someday. So let's do it, and I did it. I almost chickened out because at the high note, I like my voice cracked one time and I was like, oh my God, it's gonna suck. And then I almost sang an Adele song. Like it would have been I was so close to singing a different song and like that song that song really did it for me.
Gosh, I love that. I would never expect a Motley Crue song to be as a choice of an audition song for American Idol. So
See
just
it?
hearing that was like it really puts you on a different spot level in terms of like, well, there was this girl that did an Adele song, and then there was this one girl who did Motley Crue.
Right.
Which
Yes.
one out of the two?
It's like people. It's either I was like, it's either they're gonna hate it or they're like, there's no in between. They're gonna be like, what? Or they're going to hate it, and that's fine. Like I have to be okay with the people that hate it.
Well, obviously they didn't hate it because you got
Yeah.
on and you killed it. Oh my gosh. With that
Hey.
in mind, uh, because that was 2021, during the
Yeah.
whole pandemic, I'm curious um, in terms of you performing on stage in front of the judges. Um, was there a crew? Like, was there an audience, or was it more
There was like
empty?
so it wasn't like the old American Idol crowd or like what it was this past season. It was it was like there's probably like 50 people in the room and they all were like socially distanced. Um and had like plastic walls in between them. And so I mean it was still an audience. Like they were still so I didn't expect an audience at all because I was like because of COVID, but
Yeah.
it was great. It was great to have some people there. But it wasn't like how it used to be or how it is now because of COVID.
Yeah. But like still, I mean, in terms of performing, that was that like your big first like huge performance wise? All
Yes.
right. Okay, okay. So with that in mind, how was it? Like, how do you feel in terms of doing it?
It was ugh, I was so like mm, um it was really crazy and very nerve-wracking and like I didn't know how to move my body. Like I just felt kind of like I wasn't comfortable on stage yet. I started getting comfortable like towards the end of the show. And it, vocally, like I was nervous every time before I got on stage and then like my brain would just be like do it and then I do it vocally, which is great. But yeah, I was just getting comfortable. It was new to me. I
Yeah.
should have shaming myself, but it was really crazy new to me and really surreal, and it all happened super fast.
I feel like any exciting moment happens in a blink of an eye.
Yes, it was crazy. It was like 4 months, and it felt like I look back at it, it was like all conjoined.
You've met a lot of people on that show. Um,
Yes.
I'm curious in terms of like, because people in terms of what the viewers see, we see one side of it. We don't see the opposite side. I'm
Yeah.
curious in terms of like, was there any kind of inspirational thought, helpful tips that the artist had helped you with that really
Yeah.
helped you push on to the next level?
Yeah. Um, oh my gosh. When I oh my god. I met Chris Martin from Coldplay and Phineas.
Oh
Fin
gosh.
I cried. I didn't cry in front of Phineas. I cried after I met him a little bit. I'm a fan, but um, Chris Martin. I remember I was explaining to him how I felt kind of like I don't know. I didn't feel fully comfortable on stage, and it was annoying me. I was like, I don't know what to do. Because I tell myself the same thing every time I like meditate. I try, and then I get on stage, and I'm like, and then he told me to just flow, just flow, like literally let your arms do whatever, let your body do whatever, let your body literally take control of you because no one is like, don't think of people who are judging you pretty much. That like, that's a big thing. It's like worrying about people judging you. That is something I struggled with a lot. I still do, but I mean, I was being judged. It was American Idol.
Yeah.
So I actually was.
Did you feel like this was going to be the last song, or did you feel like you could had one more in you?
No. I knew I knew I was going home because, like, my voice was completely shot, and I just, like, I felt it, and, um, I just felt it. I was like, This is my night," and I was so fine with it. I got the best sleep of my life that night.
Now, I glanced up about, I popped onto the YouTube and looked it up, and I noticed this is not your first time like performing the song. You actually did a cover of it 2
Yeah,
years prior to it on YouTube.
yeah.
I'm,
I
have
love
you
the song.
have you listened to that old that version lately or earlier before?
Wait, have I listened to "Wish You Were Gay"?
Your cover version of it, and then in comparison to now
Oh,
the current version.
it's completely different. It's totally different. The cover version on my that I took on my phone, I had, like, just heard the song, and I didn't really know I wasn't, like, super familiar with it, so when I was singing it on stage, I was like, I know it from front to back."
Did you ever think at that moment when you were doing that cover version of the first time doing it that you were gonna do it on stage a year later, 2 years later?
Phineas watching? No. No.
Gosh, because that's like pure manifestation, like right there. Just knowing
No.
that
I
you're
know.
there.
It's so crazy. It's so beautiful. Like, it really oh, I can't even. It's so full circle.
Out on your own with this new album that'll be coming out on the 28th. How excited are you about this album? Like
I'm
scale to
ex
like 1 through 10 kind of thing.
10.
10?
10. Yeah.
Gosh.
I've been ready. I've been born ready for this.
Where can we find you?
Um, on Instagram, uh, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, sometimes Facebook. I need to be on Twitter more. Is that okay?